insurers to play their part. 14 states have passed this legislation or something very similar in the last 2 years. South Carolina, Texas, Arizona, Florida, Louisiana, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Montana, New Mexico, Colorado, Nevada, Connecticut, Wisconsin, and New Jersey have all passed this in the past 2 years. Indiana passed a similar bill 9 years ago in 2001, and also in that year the Attorney General of Minnesota sued Blue Cross Blue Shield of Minnesota for failure to provide this coverage and settled that litigation in a way that Blue Cross Blue Shield of Minnesota has been covering kids with autism, including ABA therapy, since 2001. 19 other states are also considering this same legislation right now during the current legislative session. Now, one of the reasons that I'm here today, as you heard from Delegate O'Bannon, is that I worked on the legislation in South Carolina that passed in 2007, and I have seen it successfully implemented. Children who have never before been able to receive treatment are making remarkable progress. Providers have joined adequate networks of participating providers and negotiated satisfactory reimbursement rates. And I can tell you that despite the doomsday predictions that we've heard in state after state, none of the insurers have fled the state, none of the businesses have thrown in the towel because of premium increases. In fact, I called the Indiana Department of Insurance, since theirs has been in effect the longest, to ask what the impact on premiums has been. And even years after it went into effect, they called the impact on premiums unmeasurable. Now, I know the dollars is what you're interested in, so let me just show you a couple of things. The insurance industry's own association, the Council for Affordable Health Insurance, puts out a study every year that estimates what the impact on premiums has been from all of the different mandates. This is an excerpt from the 2008 study, and you can see, for example, alcoholism has raised premiums 1 to 3%, prescriptions 5 to 10%. Their own study shows that autism increases premiums by less than 1%. Autism Speaks contracted with an independent actuarial firm, Oliver Wyman, to conduct an actuarial study of the Virginia legislation that is before you today. We have provided each of you with a copy of that actuarial study, and we'd be happy to pass up another if anyone wants to look at it right now. Oliver Wyman's independent projection was also that this would impact premiums by less than 1%. We're talking $1 or $2 per member per month. And the actuary who prepared this study, Mark Lambright, is also here with us today if you would like to question him about any of his methodology. Now, I know that some opponents are going around saying that this bill will increase premiums by 2, 3, 4, 5%. Before you accept that, I ask you to hold the opponent's feet to the fire on where they came up with that prediction. Have they shown you their math? Have they shown you their actuarial study? You can see all of the calculations from our independent projection in here, and I encourage you to read it. It's actually accessible. I could read it and understand it, even though I'm not an actuary. Go through it and see where we come up with this projection. But even better than projections from either our side or the insurance industry, ask to see the actual claims data. The insurance industry knows exactly what this cost in Indiana, in Minnesota, where it's been being covered for nearly a decade. Why haven't they come forward with the actual claims data? You know, just earlier this week, a little bit of data was released from the state of South Carolina that you might find instructive. In South Carolina, this benefit applies to our state employees' health plan. And we now have 1 full year of data. It became applicable to our state employee health plan on January 1st of last year. So now we have 1 full year of data. Just so you know, South Carolina has a population of 4.5 million, and our state health plan has 350,000 members. So I believe it's a little bit larger than yours. The projected fiscal impact to the state for covering autism.
Ms. Unum, I'm going to interrupt for just a moment.
Okay.
Because I did not set the ground rules when we started, except in private with Dr. O'Bannon. And I want to say one thing. We've been going for 10 minutes. And what I said to Dr. O'Bannon is I give each side 10 minutes. Now, having done that and having not told you that beforehand or anyone else here, I'm going to allow another 5 minutes with the proponents, and then I'm going to allow 15 minutes on the other side. I will have to tell you, you were not here last year. We spent more on this topic than any single topic that this subcommittee handled last year. All but 2 of the members who are here have been through an extensive primer last year, and I would assume most of us have heard a great deal. I don't mean to cut you off. I don't mean to interrupt your train of thought, but I wanted to do that and not let us get too far down. We've got a docket of another 8 bills. And anyway, we'll proceed, but I just wanted to let you know we do have limitations.
Okay, I apologize for taking too long. This is new data, so I know you didn't have this last year, so let me give you this quickly and then address 2 quick points and then I'll sit down. So in South Carolina, the projected fiscal impact to the state was $9 million for covering kids with autism, including ABA therapy. The actual cost data, which just came in, $856,000 is what it costs the state to cover this. That works out to a per member per month premium increase of 20 cents. 20 cents per member per month has made this coverage available in South Carolina. Okay, I understand that one of the objections to the bill is that some people say that ABA, this therapy that we want coverage for, is educational in nature. So let me address that in one other point. Okay, well, I was told that that's what I should be addressing. I would posit that the insurance industry is setting up a false dichotomy by making you choose whether you believe ABA to be appropriate in the schools or appropriate for medical insurance coverage. Yes, it is certainly true that some school districts, particularly the wealthier ones, use the principles of ABA in educating their children. But just because the schools provide it doesn't mean that it's not appropriate for health insurance. Schools also provide speech therapy, but that doesn't mean that speech therapy isn't appropriate for health insurance coverage. I really have a lot of other points I'd like to make on that, but I'll skip them. Okay, and then on to the bill. All right, the changes in the committee substitute are that the benefit is now limited to ages 2 through 6. That is the most restrictive bill or statute in the nation, just so that you know. There is a $35,000 cap, a maximum annual benefit of $35,000.
Which is on lines 138 to 1.
I'm sorry, yes. Page 6, lines 138 is the dollar cap. And the age cap of 2 through 6 is on page 1, lines 18 and 19, or line 19. The other key feature of the committee substitute, you may be aware that on Friday, regulations came out from the U.S. Department of Labor and other departments implementing a 2008 federal mental health parity bill. Those regulations raised some questions about whether caps are enforceable in bills like this. We know that you're very interested in a bill that controls cost and contains cost, and I respect that. So we have drafted language that includes an opt-out for insurers if their claims experience indicates that their claims have gone up by more than 1% because of this ABA therapy. We are that confident that this is not going to escalate premiums by more than 1%, that we are willing to, in the event that a cap would become invalidated under federal preemption due to these new regulations, if that should happen, we're still confident that the premium increase will be less than 1%, and this bill contains an opt-out for insurers. Just to wrap it up, I spent 7 years considering this issue while I was a law professor, and I really considered all of the different possible ways to address this issue. Surely the family shouldn't be left to handle it alone. Does education have a part to play? Yes. Does Medicaid have a part to play? Yes. But this is the best solution I could come up with to get insurers at the table so that everybody is doing their part. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apologize for not teeing up the folks. If you all want to hear from the actuary, that's fine. I've got a couple of families. We'll take 1 minute, and then we'll be done.
We could do 1 minute, and then we'll obviously ask people who are here to stand
We'll
also.
do that too. Why don't we have
Hi there, my name is Cassandra Olda, and I'm happy to have the opportunity to speak here today. You may remember